Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex. Quick update for you guys. The Giants have just released wide receiver Golden Tate and linebacker David Mayo. Two guys we expected to be released, but maybe not so soon. We have Nate Solder. That's another guy who probably will be released as well, unless they can find a way to restructure his deal. We've talked about him in recent days, but Solder's a guy, if they do cut him pre-June 1st, they're only going to save $6 million against the cap for him. But on the other side, if they cut him post June 1st, they'll save $10 million. So it's a big difference there. I think they're just going to wait to do it. But at the end of the day, the Giants need to create cap space. They want to sign Leonard Williams. They want to get a wide receiver. They want to get Dalvin Tomlinson back. They have a lot of moves they need to make. And ultimately, it's going to take more than just cutting Golden Tate and David Mayo to get it done. But Golden Tate, he's going to save the Giants $6.14 million in money to now roll over into another contract. He's going to count 4.7 in dead money. But interestingly enough, if they would have waited and cut him post June 1st, they would have saved $8.5 million. So that was an interesting situation for them. They decided to cut him pre-June 1st and only ended up saving about 6.15 million when they could have saved 8. So they made that move prematurely, which tells you one thing. It really tells you the Giants are going to be utilizing that money to maybe sign Leonard Williams soon or another guy, who knows. So we'll see what happens there, but I think for the most part, we can expect them to start making moves relatively soon, whether it's Leonard Williams or Dalvin Tomlinson or finding a wide receiver. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, just the background, sorry, it's a little dark, it's nighttime here. But for the most part, I think these are two signings that we expected. This is pretty straightforward. Golden Tate, didn't really offer the most for what we would have wanted. The Giants did replace Odell Beckham Jr. with him essentially. And you can make the argument that, Golden Tate didn't produce much less than OBJ did over the last 2 years. But at the time, OBJ was considered a top 3 receiver. And we said, okay, let's trade him. We got a couple great picks back, Jabril Peppers and Dexter Lawrence being two of them, and Ocean Ximenez. So some good value there. But we didn't really replace his production when he was with the Giants. That was kind of the big thing here. Golden Tate, he recorded 676 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. And actually that was in 2019, but 2020 he had 388 yards and 2 touchdowns. So overall, he had about 1,050 yards and 8 scores over 2 years. Obviously, that was not the production we were used to with OBJ as our wide receiver 1. He was putting up 1,500 yards, 1,000 yards, and 10 double-digit touchdowns on some occasions. We remember, if you're a Giants fan, you remember how explosive he was. Golden Tate had a couple nice catches here and there, but they signed him to a 4-year contract, which is a bit optimistic for a guy coming off a down season with Philadelphia in 2018 and then rolling that over into a big deal. He got $23 million in guaranteed money from the Giants. Was that a good move by Dave Gettleman? I would argue not so much. I think if the Giants were really trying to rebuild, they would have drafted somebody. They got Darius Slayton, of course, 2019 as well. So that, but he was a late round pick. The Giants passed again in 2020 in a receiver, going with the undrafted free agent route, Austin Mack, those type of guys, and Benjamin Victor didn't even see the field. So the Giants didn't really do much to replace that wide receiver 1. And the issue with it is that oftentimes teams don't let wide receiver 1s go. They either tag and trade them, they extend them, or they trade them mid-season. We saw DeAndre Hopkins. No way a guy like that's hitting the free agent market when you can get value from him in a trade, just like the Texans did with Arizona. They managed to get some more draft capital via means of trade. But, you can make the argument, let's say Allen Robinson was the last guy that's considered a wide receiver 1 to hit the free agent market. Expectations that the Chicago Bears will tag him this time around, but Jacksonville let him at the free agent market. But at that time, he was coming off a year where he didn't even play. I think he had a torn ACL, so he didn't even play. And he had 1 season with over 1,000 yards. So that was over 4 years. So he wasn't a wide receiver 1 yet. He was a wide receiver 2 with some upside. So wasn't even wide receiver 1. Sammy Watkins was the guy next to him. That was another one that could have been in the realm of wide receiver 1, but obviously he never lived up to that. So, another player that didn't really, reach his potential, but ended up being kind of productive with the Chiefs, as Tyreek Hill's their number 1 wide receiver, of course. But the Giants, there's not really a good chance they're going to get a wide receiver one in free agency. So that's kind of the downside of it. But the draft is where they can really utilize their capital and allocate resources to try and get a guy with upside. I think Rashad Bateman's a guy we keep talking about him as a potential option. But the cuts that I do see the Giants making in the near future, Cody Cord, he has 0 dead cap hit. Isaac Yiadom has a 0 dead cap hit. David Mayo's gone, so they saved $2.3 million on his contract, and Levine Toilolo. So if they cut Levine Toilolo, they'll save $2.95 million. If they cut Isaac Yiadom, they'll save $2.2 million, and then Cody Cord $2 million. So that's 2, 4, 6, and then 7, and then 8, 9. So basically, if they cut all those guys plus Tate, so that's 9 plus about 6. They save about $15 million right there. They could probably first year cap hit. Let's say Leonard Williams, his first year cap hit's $15 million. Cutting those 4 guys, they can get that $15 million. They can fit him under the deal, under the contract, under the cap hit that way. But then, you need other players. You need a wide receiver. You need to sign your draft picks. You need $8 million there. So what do you do in these scenarios? Expect a lot of movements. A lot of contract reconstructions. Nate Solder's going to probably get cut post-June 1st. They'll probably use that money towards the draft picks. But there's going to be a lot of movement in the coming days, guys. So, keep an eye on this. Obviously, we'll be doing updated videos all the time for you guys to make sure you're caught up with everything Giants, whether it's cuts, signings, draft prospects, interviews. We got you covered. But as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this short update video regarding Golden Tate and David Mayo. And we will catch you guys on the next one.